Welcome back to another drift video. So this is for the 2006 Formula Drift number 43 Dodge Viper SRT10. So before I get into it, I'm just going to give a little bit of a breakdown in the beginning for the first minute or so. So I'm going to do the sport tires tune, and I'm also going to do a drag tires tune, depending on whether you want to use this car for tandem drifting or points drifting. It just gives everyone an option to use whichever one they like. And please keep in mind as well that this tune, I've been drifting since Forza MotorSport 3, so this tune is to my drifting style and how I drift, so this may not work for you, but at least it gives you an idea of what to do to the car to get it to slide, if that makes sense. So when it comes to the wheels, put whichever wheels you want on there, that's entirely up to you. Tyres is stock on the front, I've got stock width and stock width on the front, sorry. And on the rear, I've got 305s on the rear as well. So when it comes to the performance and handling on this, I do have the stock brakes because I don't need it to bite as much as what I do with drag tires. So I've got the stock brakes on this. When it comes to the ballast, I've got stock ballast, but that's because this car is perfectly 50-50. And this ballast is extremely good, especially if the car is rear-engined, like the Ferrari 458, because that is rear heavy, so you can put the ballast in to level the car out, so it's like an even playing field kind of a deal. So we're going to jump into the tune now. When it comes to the brakes, I run this because I like to brake drift on a few corners where the car doesn't have enough guts. Now, I do this on every car, and a lot of cars don't need this, but a lot of cars do. So that's why I just run this as a blanket across them all. And I run ABS off, so use this if you want to try it, or use your own braking pressure. Just thought I'd give you a heads up on that. And on the diff, it's 100-0. So we are going to go into the assists now, so you can see what assists I'm running. And the reason why I have the full race line on is you'll see it when I load in. You'll see why I've got that on. But that's the assists I've got. So, as you can see with the racing line, on this, with the points drifting, or with the points drifting side anyway, it goes on your angle, your line, and your speed. And the best, 9 out of 10 times, the best line is the racing line, or just off the racing line. So that's why I have it on, if anyone's wondering. So we're going to do an out lap, and then we're going to do a best lap after that, so you can see what it can do. And the reason why I do this with points instead is because at least with points you can see what each car can get, and it gives you it's an easy tool to measure the car by, because not everyone is always free to jump in and do a tandem drift whenever I've got a car to do, kind of a deal. So it's just easier to judge it by the points, what you can get. I use that hump there to get it to change gear into fourth on this track, because it lightens up the car as it goes over. So when you chuck it into fourth, it gives it a little bit more room to spin. You can shorten fourth gear if you want, but the reason I've got it like that is because it works on a lot of other tracks, having it the way it is. You just got to use features of that on certain tracks to get it to go in, if that makes sense. Otherwise, you'd be making a tune for every other track. So some people may struggle with that with this car. But yeah, it's just a little heads up. That is 111,000 with sport tyres. So now we are going to go and put the drag tyres on. Now all these tunes I'm putting on YouTube, they are all on my storefront as well. So if you can't be bothered doing all this, just look on here. They'll all be on here. Again, when it comes to your wheels, whatever rims you want, whatever suits you. Tyres, I've got drag tyres on this, and on the front, I've got 275s on front. Then on the rear, I've got 295s on the rear. Performance and handling, I have got race brakes. The reason why I have the ride height like this on my points drifting cars, that is because one, the higher it is, it creates less suction to the ground, so it slides a lot easier. And the reason why I've got a little bit of a rake on it is because it helps it pivot on the front. So when you're transitioning from drift to drift, it helps you pivot a little bit on the front. Some cars you need a little bit more of an aggressive rake on it. On others you only need a tiny rake, if that makes sense. Again, like I said in the previous one, I use this because I brake drift on a few cars. So use whatever you like on your brakes. That's up to you. That's why I do the tune like this. So you can change what you need to change to suit your driving style. So let's jump into it. So we're going to do an out lap again, and then we're going to jump in with an actual lap. It takes a minute to get used to it when you go from sport tyres to drag tyres. That's why I always do an outlap as well. Oh yeah, it takes a second or two to switch because it's a slightly different drifting style. So yeah, I'll just leave that there. Don't always expect mistakes on the first lap. Mess that entrance up, but it is what it is. There we go, 112k.9. It wasn't the cleanest, but yeah, I hope you like these videos and tunes. There's hundreds more ready to come. Thank you for watching, everyone. Peace.